Right, so we should be starting up. Just checking my YouTube stuff over here. It says I got an excellent connection. I don't believe them, but okay. And welcome
Nice.
everybody once again to another edition of the Game Dev Roundtable. We will be reviewing, obviously, as we usually do. We'll be reviewing the footage from Screenshots Saturdays and any other tweets that were given to us on the Discord, which you can join in the description down below. But before we get into that, let's talk a little bit about who's joining us today. This is your cue for you guys to introduce yourselves.
Hey guys, I'm Enogames, and I'm developing a cooking management game with RPG mechanics.
All right. Eric.
My name is Eric. I am a YouTuber and freelance artist. I make pretty pictures of cartoons.
That's as good of a
Freelance
summary.
Artist. I make pretty pictures of cartoons. Keep everything nice and precise.
Awesome. So I'm just going to post the link on Twitter for those who are interested. And I'm your host, DreamingDice, and I am obviously a game dev, and I am currently working on an unnamed grand strategy game that we may or may not see some footage of today. Wink, wink. So, as usual, the rules of engagement here are simple. Demos, snapshots, promotional trailers, anything that people have worked on. It can be in the past week, it can be in the past month, it doesn't really matter. As long as we haven't seen it, we will give our first impressions of it. We'll comment a little bit of it. We'll talk about what we see in the footage. And we will also talk about if what you were attempting to communicate is easily conveyed. So if you put like a title on it, like, hey, I was working on my skill system. If the tweet, accurately shows off the skill system, we'll talk about that kind of side of it too. So the marketing aspect a little bit. Okay, so we're going to start today with Enogames, with our buddy who's back. He wasn't here last week, but we did review his work from last week. We gave our comments on that, and we're going to be doing the same today, except this time it's going to be about 30% more awkward because he's here, so he's just going to have to sit there while we just completely tear his game apart. No, I'm kidding. Or am I? Dun, dun, he's here, so he's just... And there I am opening the video, so you guys heard me say the same thing again. This is what I meant to open, the tweet. So let's hit that up. Here we go. And I'm just going to put that for the audience. I'm going to pull a little Twitter tab over here for myself, and I'm going to open this up. So Eric, are you ready?
Yep.
All right, so I'm going to open that up. I'm going to switch the tabby thing. And here we go. 3, 2, 1, and... All right, it played for me already. Eric, I'll let you take a first stab at it. I'm going to read the tweet before you do. Late screenshot Sunday from Enogames. The skill system is now fully functional. It's divided into skills which are gradually upgraded and thus improve the end result, and abilities with which you can unlock recipe categories. Let me know what you think, and that we will do. So, Eric, I'll let you take a first stab at it.
I guess from an artist perspective, I like the visual aspect of everything. Very cartoony, very simple, easy to read. Nothing's like, well, it's easy to read when Twitter decides to let me read. The quality of Twitter video is such garbage. But yeah, I like the system because like it's easy to read that, okay, you click here to do this, click here, you're spending skill points, you hit abilities, you can, get more abilities to do better things. Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty straightforward and easy to follow system that I can see. Obviously, I can't see. The only weird thing is that I can't see your mouse. So it's like I'm having to wait until something happens to like realize, oh, he clicked that thing. Okay. So it'd be like I don't know if that's just your video or your recording software just didn't capture your mouse or something, but that'd be helpful. But no, I like everything. Look good. Maybe like an animation or like some special effect go off when you do things. That would be my one critique, is like have something kind of happen just to like give you that little bit of a visual feedback.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thanks for that, Eric.
Thanks.
I agree with the mouse portion and the little bit of feedback. It's really interesting because this kind of is more in the realm of things that I'm used to doing. These kind of trees and pretty much just very heavy UI elements that are important. Um, I recently was working on something relatively similar, so I can kind of identify with some of the struggles that obviously come with it. The first off, it looks really clean, which is really important. A big issue that these skill trees tend to have is they tend to be very messy and very cluttered, and that's not an issue with you. You have enough, at least in my non-artistic opinion. From a functional perspective, you have enough like open space. It doesn't look too saturated. It's not overwhelming. It's pretty clear what you're doing, and the multiple paths is always a pretty cool thing because it really allows that idea of specialization, which allows that idea of replayability. That's one of the things that make you replay a lot of RPGs. They have multiple paths and
Mm-hmm.
stuff. Your game's a little different because it is oriented towards mobile. It does have a different perspective than that. So I guess I guess in that regard, it would just allow you to maybe I want to focus my time right now on presentation, for example, or preparation, and go with the knife skills. And maybe in the future you get bored of that and you can switch it up. So it still serves the same purpose, just a slightly different way. I would say that something that would probably be cool for future work would be, particularly in the skill tree, would be when you hover over with the mouse, which maybe that happens now, maybe it doesn't. As Eric said, you should look into, if you're using OBS or whatever. Sometimes those recording softwares discard your mouse, so
Mm-hmm.
maybe you should, in this particular footage, allow it. Maybe you're doing it from your game where you're hiding the mouse again, which is pretty cool. Just put in a custom icon, which would be even more awesome, like a little chef hat or a little knife or whatever. Um, but something that would be really important in these skill trees is that you got the non-clutter, clean look down. You're lacking a little bit of the info. Like I'd like to have, when I put, for example, my mouse on preparation to the right, presentation, for example, to the right side, what does that mean? What is that going to increase? I can see it's getting bigger. I can see I'm getting more stars. I can see I'm unlocking consistency and multitasking. But what do those mean? Would be a really interesting thing. So just a little hover with a small box with a very brief explanation would be cool. You can go other routes, maybe the whole, click route where it opens a little different window or whatever. But I think with just the hover would be pretty cool. Um, and also, I think something that isn't that clear to me is the differences between the two screens that you're showing. Like one screen you have this really cool like skill tree-ish kind of thing where you choose your own path, while the second one you have kind of like this linear thing where you're still also investing points, but I don't know, you know, can you unlock the next step without having the previous one completely complete? Because this one's linear, so it's like I have 5 points or 7 points, excuse me, when you show it. Uh, is it just a question of you need 3 to unlock this, then 5 to unlock this, and that's it? Uh, and why wouldn't it be unlocked automatically? One of the big things that happens here, which is probably already thought out, is this is just, we have to keep in mind this is a 17-second video. Um, One of the things that's cool about these skill trees and these, point spending and whatnot is the ability of choice. It gives me choice. It allows me to play the game I see fit. The linear one, I don't really understand that much. Maybe that's maybe there's a bunch of different linear ones and you choose whichever one you want. But the linear one, if you haven't figured out the one I'm talking about the one that shows up
Mm-hmm.
about 10 seconds in, specifically, just to be exact, 12 seconds in, which shows the pasta dishes, fish dishes, etc. That one, it just asks me the question of like, why would I, like, shouldn't it just unlock automatically if I have no choice there? I'm assuming that's not the case once again, because this is a 17-second video, and the point of this tweet was not really to show in depth any of this. It was to show this new system that didn't exist prior, which involves a shit ton of work. Again, I understand the how nauseating UI work in particular can be. Just not just getting aspect ratios and shit correctly,
Yes.
but getting all those listeners or whatever it is you're using to communicate your UI with your data. That's a nightmare. I can totally understand that. And my missus, when she watches this in post, will probably get PTSD just by listening to that, because that's what she does on a daily basis. But anyway, yeah, the video is great from the perspective that it does present that the system's here, it's new, it's all that. I understand that it's new, so I'm not trying to be harsh on it or anything. That one question just comes into mind: what each of these boxes do. So a little hover would be cool. And what does that linear one mean? Like if there's multiple linear ones, maybe showing me going into it to know that yes, there is choice here. Um, that you can use your skill points here. Uh, and I guess overall the short question there is difference between skills and abilities, because one is marked as or you have like a tab in abilities in the skill tree. And
Mhm.
that's what you open for the linear one. So I'm assuming those are the abilities, and the skill tree is obviously, just the skill tree. So I guess more information would be the next step. But you got the most difficult part down, which is presenting it in a logical, clean way. These kind of UIs, at least in my case, have cluttered a shit ton of times in a very nasty way, and it's a lot harder to declutter than it is to just add info. This is your case. So I've talked enough. That was like 5 minutes of nonstop talking. Um, what are your thoughts? I guess maybe this
Yeah,
is the
I
part where
would.
you correct us if we
Yeah,
got anything wrong or whatever.
no, you didn't get anything wrong. Every feedback is always good. Um, but I would like to answer your question. What the difference is between these two? I tried to explain it a little bit in the tweet, but it's hard with just 280 characters to really explain it. So I split it up in two categories: the skills, which are in the tree thing, and they are upgraded gradually, as you can see, and they will improve the outcome. About the mouse over, there's my problem with a mobile. You don't really have a mouse over on a mobile. I could
Single
I
tap
could
versus
make
double tap.
yes, I could do this, or if the button is selected, that you have, yeah,
Yeah, single tap
ta-
selects, double tap adds the
and
star.
tap again
Yeah.
is, yeah, on click method. Yeah, I could do this. I have the same in the inventory, and then make a little pop up. What exactly gets boosted for the recipe or for the dish outcome? And the other ones are the linear, are the ability, or you better said, the recipe categories. And I will link them to the recipes. And you got to unlock salads, for example, to make a salad,
Okay.
to have a salad recipe unlocked, you could say. And I made it that way linear because I'm a trained chef. And this is kind of the direction and the stepping you have to go in your apprenticeship. So you start off and just making soups for a while before, and once you are good with soups, then you go on to the salads and
So,
so
so
on and
something
so
I
on.
just noticed, are the skill points shared between the abilities and the skills?
Yes.
Ah, okay. So that's where the choice is. Maybe I just want to make salads and be like a badass salad
Yes.
maker for a while.
Maybe
Or maybe I
maybe
want
I
to make
need
a
to make it
diversity
a
of
little
stuff
bit.
but be relatively mediocre at it. Okay, now I see.
Yes. So yeah, you get only skill points, and you can spend them either on ability to unlock, let's say, pasta dishes, or yeah, pasta dishes was the one I unlocked. Or you can spend it on the skill to make your dishes you can already cook
Better.
better.
Yeah. Okay, I see. That makes sense. Maybe the term skill point should be changed because it's a little jarring to see
Yes.
skill points in the ability tree. Maybe that's just new. That's just minutia at this point. But okay, now I see where it's going. Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
But
okay,
I
okay. That's my
might think
bad. I
of
should have. I
another
should have.
name.
I should have noticed that earlier. But okay.
But thanks. Yeah, with a pop up, I will do something like this.
Yeah, maybe
Next
like you have
Saturday,
a
it's
lot of
ready to
space
show.
under the abilities tab. Maybe have like a small square there that whenever you click, that square is filled with information, rather than having like necessarily a small pop up or something. I don't know how the best way of looking at it is because, as you mentioned, it is mobile, so you don't have a lot of the cool stuff that you have in PC like hover and stuff like that.
Yes.
Um, I don't know if maybe a multi-window system is what you need. Like you click it once, you get a small pop-up with the information and the question of increase or don't increase or whatever, or a plus or a minus to each side. Who knows? But yeah. I see. I also see now. I understand the reason why you don't see the mouse because there is no mouse. You're probably using
Yes.
Unity remote to record this, right?
No. I don't. I
Oh,
don't.
okay.
I'm recording it with the Windows screen recorder with
Oh, okay.
just a simple one. But he is hiding the mouse pointer once
Okay.
I'm recording. If I record it on my test device, you got the white dots where you tap.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, but you get that
Yeah.
because your mobile is in developer mode. That's
Yes.
That's not normal.
Yes.
That's not part of the application. That's the developer mode.
But you got to have it in developer mode to test
Yeah.
it.
But anyway, you should well, you could something you could do. Should is a bad word. Uh, is what Eric mentioned. Some kind of effect when you tap would be cool. Particularly now,
Yes.
is I think that's doubly true in mobile because you have kind of that expectation. Or at least I do. I
Yes.
have more of that
A
expectation in
little
mobile than
little
I do in PC.
particle system or something like this, which is yeah.
Maybe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I fix it.
Okay. Regardless, good,
Thanks, guys.
great work, man. Okay, so that's all I have to say, Eric. Or would you like to say anything else? So let's retweet it now.
No, I think you guys have said everything. I said what I needed to say.
Awesome. Okay, so now is the part where the host shuts up because we're doing mine. So I'll just show that on screen. You know what? I'm not even going to show the, I'm not even going to bother with the tweet. I'm going to read it, but I'm not even going to bother with the tweet. I'm going to show just straight up the video version because I have that here. You guys can watch it, over there if you need to have it in front of you. I'm just going to put it for the benefit of the audience if I am able to, because I really hate Windows Player. Okay, there you go. There you go. Okay, so I'm just going to read the tweet real quick. It's right there in the Discord. So a bit late for Screenshot Saturday, or maybe I should call it Screenshot Sunday at this point. That's totally not me trying to game the system and use both hashtags just in case. That was a legitimate question, I promise. Regardless, I give you the new overworld fog effects and the first glimpses at our grand strategy elements buildings. Should we build the outpost? Made with Unity, blah, blah, blah. So here we go. Playing it for the audience. This one doesn't have sound, so you guys can react in real time if you see that fit. Oh, whoops, I showed the wrong video. Showed the shorter version. Yeah, the one on Twitter is 13 seconds. Oh. Huh, that's interesting. I think let me look at the Discord real quick. This is just some technical issues, boys and girls. Can you guys still hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, because my computer's just frozen up.
Yeah, I can see that.
Let me. Oh wow, that's nice. Thank you, Windows Player. You're so great. So effing great.
Gotta love Microsoft.
Jesus fucking Christ. It is just completely locked up. And I have a really good laptop too. I don't know why this is doing that. This is the first time it's ever frozen live. Just so we can all share this moment.
I
It's
mean,
good.
hey,
Good
as long as they can
advertisement.
hear what we're saying, that's all that matters.
So, well,
Yeah.
meanwhile, let's just keep going because I think, are we still streaming? Can you check that for me? You guys there? hopefully we are back. We're gonna need to.
Oh no, I'm a Windows 10 user.
Hopefully we are
I just
back.
don't trust Microsoft's garbage
okay.
software.
So hopefully we are back. Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah. Let me get the thingy back up.
Now I wonder what YouTube does, if it'll just cut off the stream and put it into a separate portion, or what exactly it's going to
I think it
does, if it'll just cut.
did.
Usually
Oh
when you
God, mute.
stop streaming, it's the video is already live then, or already on.
No, I think it
Well,
continued.
now you
When
got
you
God mute
stop
one.
streaming, did it?
No, I think it continued. Yeah, it's got the 17 minutes. I think it continued. So interestingly
Cool.
enough, YouTube functioning better than
Windows.
than frickin' Windows. That's interesting.
That's hilarious.
So okay, so I'm back here. We're back. Let's try that again. So this time we're going to be looking at my portion, which I'm going to be opening beforehand.
Maybe you shouldn't use Windows crap. Use like a different thing.
Yeah, this is my laptop. I bought it a couple months ago specifically because I was coming out, out of town and stuff, and I haven't installed like most of my software on it. So I'm using a lot of Windows native crap. But
Yeah.
I think I'm actually gonna go this time just open the tweet. I think I'm just gonna do that, so we don't get this issue again.
Yep.
So let's do that. So let's try this segment again. So let me make that visible for the audience. And here we are again. So a bit late for Screenshot Saturday, or should I call it Screenshot Sunday at this point? Regardless, I give you the new overworld fog effects and the first glimpse of our grand strategy elements, buildings. Should we build the outpost? So let's see if we can actually see that video this time. Let's put that nice and big and ugly for the audience. There you go.
Yeah, I've let it loop a few times.
All right, so you guys can start talking about it. You've probably seen it. Let's not waste more time. I'll just let it happen there for the audience in the background. So what do you guys think?
You know?
Yeah, you start this one.
Yeah. First I have to say I love your UI. This looks really, but I think your missus may have helped you, or at least gave you tips how to design this. Yeah, it's a quite interesting post. I wonder though, is this building actually building then inside of your map once you build it, or is it not?
I'll write down the questions and answer everything at the end, just in case. Or
Okay,
should I answer it just right now?
No.
You know what? Screw it. I'm gonna do it right now. Let's keep it dynamic. Right now the system is set up for that, but it's not doing that right now. It's not physically making any changes, but there are physical slots. I haven't decided yet. Part of me wants to do it. Like, it's something that I'd be, interested in putting into the system. Again, I already have like the physical slots and everything built out. It's just number one, have the question of, do I have available right now the models that would represent all the buildings that I want to create? And number two, and more important, how much of the time will the player be zooming into the map, if at all? Like, there are games, for example, like the 4X games, like Age of Wonders 3 and Civ and stuff like that. They do show up the little buildings, and you do, scroll into them. But then there are others like, some of the older Total War games in their campaign modes that it doesn't necessarily build it, and it's just in a slot. By the way, if I would have clicked confirm in this video, you would have seen the buildings show up in the slot, in the UI slot, not in the physical world yet. So it's something I need to decide, because again, it's a game that, unlike, for example, Age of Wonders, let's say, or Warhammer 40k Gladius, the combat is going to happen in a separate screen, a screen that you've already seen. So it's going to come down to how much are you actually going to be looking at the world map in and of itself, particularly because all of these you're usually looking at UI menus. So this is just kind of
Mm-hmm.
like a nice little background that you can see like more global effects. So I'm not sure. I even have like cameras set up in each of the positions, hard cameras. Uh, so just cameras that toggle over, for example, in this case to the forest that I'm not using right now, specifically because let's say that if you look at the video, when I click on the forest, let's say the camera would zoom in onto the forest, I wouldn't really see anything of the forest because I'd have the menu in front. So like a lot
Yeah.
of the systems already in place, I'm questioning on whether it's something I should invest the extra effort into putting in or not. Uh, that'd be a question for an artist. Wink, wink.
Well, I mean, and like, here's my thing with that, and I think it's a case with all game development is if it's something that doesn't directly impact or improve the main gameplay loop, it can be added if you have time later on when everything else is done. So, like what you have, like from what I'm seeing so far, what you have works. The UI looks really clean. It's really easy to read. It's easy to follow what you're doing. The overworld looks really nice. The fog looks really good. And yeah, it'd be really cool if like you hit build and all of a sudden the UI goes away for a moment and you see like the fucking buildings like emerge from the ground or some shit, like something, you know, whatever, like yeah,
Yeah,
that would look cool. But if taking time to do that is taking away time that you could be putting towards making the main gameplay, like the main core gameplay loop, more interesting or more solid, refine it more, then it's not really worth doing. Um, so I see it as that kind of thing. Like, do it if you have the time later on, but for now, I think just keep focusing on what you're doing now because it's showing every time I've seen a new video, screenshot, whatever, things just keep getting more improved that I can see. So I'd say keep focusing on what you're doing because everything else is doing its job and is working really fine. Especially like you said, you have a lot of menus popping up, so it's not like you can fucking see anything behind it anyway. So that's like visual detail or like attention to detail things you can do whenever at the end. But yeah, no, I really like what I'm seeing so far.
okay. Thanks for that. I don't know if I cut you off, uh, since I
Um,
tossed that question over.
not. No, no, not really. Not
Interestingly
really.
enough, both of you have missed that there's an Easter egg. There's a little something I used to like to do that Eno's familiar with because he saw a lot of my combat, the development of the combat when I was working on that. I like to throw some Easter eggs, particularly in naming, and I'm interested. It's interesting that neither of you noticed that there is a small Easter egg referencing somebody in this video. But with that, we're just going to have to move on.
Ha 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 ha. I saw it.
So I guess we're going to move on now. The spoiler is the name of the forest. It references somebody from our roundtable for the audience's benefit. But yeah, okay. Thank you, boys, for the feedback. I think I answered both your questions. I think I'm going to go the route Eric says. Um, because my main interest right now is to get this first small demo out in the hands of players and see what their opinions of the loop is before I start messing around with stuff like that. But the way I saw it in my head, which is why I have kind of those dead code elements there, was the building coming out of the ground, kind of like how Eric described, with that little animation that you'd see. But that is flavoring. That is kind of a little bit of the extra. It's there on the priority list, but I'll probably do what Eric is saying and push it a little bit back, just so I can get the actual gameplay out. So thank you very much for that. So okay, let's move on. Let's go to one of our first random ones.
Yep.
Let's put these guys in,
Someone.
and the details of all of them are in the description. Right now, it's just a link to the tweet, but I'll put the name and stuff like that after the stream's over. So right now, we're going to be looking at Pixel Eric at Pixel Eric YT. I'm assuming that
which
stands for
is
YouTube.
which is not me, but I
It's
wish it
not
was
Eric
me.
Ronin. Yes, it's not. It's not him.
I wish this was me
Or maybe the
because
Eric talking to us is the imposter. Ha ha! Topical humor.
topical humor, yay.
So he says pulled off some stops to get ready for today's Screenshot Saturday. Feel the spring air as you explore Kokoa's first main area. Meet friends and foes alike. I'll get on that battle BG. It's a tad rough. So these are pure screenshots. I like including screenshots every once in a while. This is one of the
I mean,
two.
it is called Screenshot Saturday.
Yeah, we've all broken that rule, haven't we? Uh,
Yes.
I wanted to include this for two main reasons. We can kind of talk because these are screenshots. We can just flip through them. One, it's an RPG
Yeah, I
Maker
definitely
game,
want to talk.
and I wanted to show some love to other engines, particularly those that are not coding heavy. There's this, there's this traditional kind of mentality, particularly amongst us in the software development world, which is kind of like, oh, engines that do a lot of the work and abstract a lot of the stuff are not, you know, not viable, not worth looking at, and that's false. I wanted to like to have this, and I also liked the just the obvious love that's been put into this. Everything here looks hand drawn. I'm not sure if it is, particularly like the sprites, enemy sprites and whatnot. And I wanted to kind of give Pixel Eric here some love because this is, there's obviously hard work going into this. And I kind of just wanted to
Yes.
spotlight something a little bit different. We usually take a look at these like super elaborate games and, stuff like that. And I wanted to just give some love to somebody who's obviously putting a lot of backbone into it. So what are your thoughts on this?
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, I figured you'd like this, the art.
Oh.
That was the
Yes.
second.
Like as soon as I put it up, like my leg has been tapping because I was like trying not to just say anything before you like introed it, but I was just like, I love this so much. Like it's so pretty, it is so colorful, so cartoony. This is pixel art that I really love. It's super simple. It's not overcomplicated. It's got just enough, like color variation like in the shading like of the trees and stuff. The only thing I would say, just like I don't know, like obviously it's a bit of a stylistic thing, is on the grass tiles, the grass to dirt tile, you can, it's a bit too uniform on some of
Yeah.
those edges where it's like almost a perfectly straight line. But as you can see on some of the like, I just like if you just made that just a hair bit more, not random exactly because you can't really do that with auto tiling, but like make it appear a little bit more broken up so that it's not like a perfectly straight line. I think
Smooth
that
it out, I think
little
is
bit
the.
of detail,
Yeah,
that
because he's
little
got a
bit,
couple where he kind of does it a little bit, like the ones like the
yeah,
corners where there's like a semicircle in. He kind of does
yeah.
that a little bit, but it's like
If he,
it's in real life you don't have like straight super like triangle perfect lines. You should maybe put like just even if it's a
yeah,
pattern, it
just
doesn't
a
matter.
little bit of a bump here and there
Yeah.
would break up your would break it up and kind of give you a much more natural feeling. Kind of like when you look at where the water meets the grass dirt area, how that has a little bit more playing with. That gets your eye away from trying to like see the seams of the world. So if it's gone there, then your eye just kind of paints the rest of the picture more cleanly, and so your eye just goes, "Oh, this is a dirt road, and there's grass next to it." You know, it just gives you that look because everything else looks amazing, like the rocks, the flowers, the trees, the little freaking cat thing. I like how there's a little bit of variation on the grass that they threw in. I believe that's a layer that you just kind of dot some details on. So they've got a really good attention to detail and making it look natural without it looking too planned out. But yeah, just a little bit of touching up on the dirt path would add so much to this world. I'm following this person.
Yeah. Let me go to. I got a question for you, but before I do that, let's go to Eno. Eno, what are your thoughts on this? As somebody who, once again, not only learned programming and learned the Unity engine, but also started modeling and learning things from the artistic side. What are your thoughts looking at this?
This is, yeah, like Eric said, it's just adorable. This is really nice. I'm not the biggest fan of pixel art myself, so, but this is really beautiful. The color palette is really nice. It works really well together, and reminds me a lot of Pokemon and Zelda, you know.
Yeah.
So in the plain style. I wonder now though, what's the mission of this game? Obviously, you got combat and maybe turn-based. It looks like, at least on the last picture.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, might be quite interesting. Yeah, and I totally agree with Eric about the path. A little bit more, yeah, randomness. You could say. You could say to just break it up a little bit. But apart from that, it's beautiful. I have nothing more to add. I like the blue hearts. Have you seen them in between? There are in
The blue
some
what?
blue hearts. Hearts.
Where are those?
Some of the detailing work, like where the
Yeah,
flowers
Oh
and
yeah,
such are,
those
the
there's
little
little.
that,
dress.
that little bush like
Really,
thing. Yeah.
just a couple of them. Really, just little details. It's really nice made. Awesome work.
Yeah, I like that's something that they could do that I think, as a non-artist, personally, that I've done quite a bit, uh, is go back since you mentioned Pokemon and look at the tile set and the sprite set. There's a lot of stuff to learn, uh, from those games. I mean, there's a reason they were so successful at such an early age in video game development. They were, just go back and look at those sprite sets, look at those tile sets. There's a bunch of videos on YouTube that kind of look into it, and it's super interesting, particularly for me, somebody who has zero artistic ability. Um, it's really interesting to kind of look at the logic and stuff that goes behind it, and maybe that could help this developer to kind of get some tips and stuff like that. But I guess the question I wanted to kind of pose here, it's more for Eric, but it's open. If you guys, I have a sneaking suspicion that perhaps the person who made the characters and the world are not the same individual. Maybe like the world is, if this is a solo developer, maybe he purchased the world, or maybe it was made by somebody else. I don't know if that's the case, and I apologize if it's not, Eric, if you're watching this. It's just that I noticed that there's a slight variation between the artistic style of the environment and the characters. In particular, the characters have a white silhouette around them. Now, that when I see that, I personally like it because it feels stylistic. Maybe the person who created it didn't, just doesn't know how to make it transparent or whatever. I don't know if that's the case or not, but I like it personally. Be it a mistake or not, be it intentional or not, I like it, and I personally think it's something they should keep because, well, three things. The first thing is that usually uh, the games that we see nowadays are not colorful and happy and all that kind of stuff. And the games that are in this cartoony style tend to be a little on the darker side of things. Maybe that's just a reflection of the times we live in. And usually, what you do see are those like big border black lines that you see, like kind of like in Valkyria Chronicles and games like that you have kind of this black line on the border of the character that's thick and intentional. And this almost feels like the opposite in a way because you have this thick white line that you can see. Number two, it gives it its own kind of style. It's different and it's consistent at the same time. So it's not jarring, it's not uncomfortable to see, at least for me. Okay. And I'll save number three and I'll pass the question over to you, Eric. What do you think of that white line? Should that stay? Should it go? What are your thoughts on it? Kind of heard mine. I'll give my last thought after you
Yeah.
give me your
Um,
professional
I
opinion.
think it look. Yeah, I think it looks fine. It having an outer contour around a character adds a little bit more pop so that the character doesn't blend in too far. Like obviously this character wouldn't have blended in too much because their colors are vastly different than any other color because there is like I think the only other place they have even a color close to that same purple is on like the blue trees.
Mhm.
That's about as much, but like yeah, they pop out really well. But yeah, no, having a white contour is really nice. That's actually something I do with a lot of my art when I do like portraits and stuff. I'll do a black contour, but then I'll do a white contour around that, which is kind of like what they're doing. But
I
yeah, it
see.
just
Mhm.
gives you something visually to kind of pop out the character and make them not or make him seem important because it's like, oh, this is the player. This is the you're walking around and all that stuff. Stylistically, the styles do match enough that I wouldn't be too surprised that they're the same person. The only difference is that the character has some a hair bit more subtle shading, like an anti-alias shading around some of the edges, but that could just be a choice. They maybe didn't want them to be like too shadowed and then let the trees be the only things with like the real heavy shadows. Obviously like the dirt building stuff has some just for make it look like dirt. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised this is the same artist. And that feels like a good stylistic choice, like having the white, because you don't see it that often. So having something to kind of distinguish the character and make them just, again, visually pop out. Your eye goes right to it. And even on the, what is that? The third one? Or the one where you can see the little enemy bunny down at the bottom right?
Yeah.
Your eye instantly catches that because it stands out. So you automatically see that there's something there. And in this game, it seems like those are enemy. So you immediately notice it and you know, oh, enemy. So I like that. It's a really good thing.
Awesome. Okay. Well, thanks for that. And again, I'm not saying that one, that the backgrounds are better than the characters or vice versa. It just that was kind of what jumped out at me. But it's probably, there's a good chance that it's just more of a stylistic choice, as Eric described. Regardless, I think it's really good work, and I think they should be very proud of it. So they got my like there, and they are in the link down in the description. So if nobody has any additional final thoughts, I'm going to just say that was Pixel Eric YT, and link in the description. Go check them out, give them some love, and tell them we sent you. So let's move on now to the next one, unless you guys got anything you'd like to say.
No, thanks.
Okay,
no,
so
all good.
Let's just move it up. So now we're looking at Andre Ledermüller. I don't know how to pronounce his name. I've been following him for a while, and he follows me. So this might be a little bit of a biased choice, but guy's really, really talented, and he brings us today. He says, "Good morning, awesome people. Have the most pleasant Sunday possible, and do some game dev. I just do some planning for the next mocap session, and late screenshot Saturday. The @Angishama Ninja Alien is greeting you." So I don't know who that is, but let's look at what he shows us, and he hashtags Blender, mocap, and Unreal Engine 4. So this is probably made in Unreal, and it's apparently used. It was apparently made with some mocap. So let's put that up.
Oh yeah, I can definitely see that. That is definitely motion capture.
Yep.
I've let it loop like 4 times. So
Yeah, I think it has no audio, so we can talk while we look at it.
Yep.
So I think I'll go first. No, I was first last time. Eric, you go first.
Yeah, like I said, like for something of motion capture, which is a very tricky thing to do. Like that's not easy to just do, especially if you don't have the proper like studio setup. But thankfully nowadays it's getting easier because of the advancements in like camera technology, AI technology, and stuff like that. But from what I can see, I don't see any awkward popping. I don't see anything look like it's getting lost. Yeah, no, this is really good. Yeah, no, this is okay. I saw one bump, but yeah, no, this is really good motion capture. So to see them take this and maybe go into Blender or something and like smooth it a little bit, touch it up a little bit more. Yeah, well, I don't know what they're using. I would love to see what they're using to do their motion capture. This is really nice looking. Also, I love the like random lights in the background, just kind of making it really moody. And the model actually looks cool. I just know I'm staring at the model because I'm like trying to pick up more and more detail, and then I noticed, oh, their whole like stomach region is just animating.
Yeah, I just
and that is
noticed
like
that
really,
too. Yeah.
that is really cool. I like that. I like that detail. Yeah, no, this is really good. Obviously, they just gotta touch up some of the motion a little bit because it doesn't look like it's been like gone through and like smoothed out, which is like your final stage of motion capture. Is because sometimes you get like awkward popping of the mesh, or maybe it didn't line up perfectly, so you get that like random bump movement, or the camera freaked out for a moment because he spun. You'll notice when he does that spin,
the twirl.
Yeah,
a little
watch when he does that spin, that like twirl around, and you can see a little bit of a jump, as if the camera lost track of him for a second, or for like a split frame. But yeah, not too bad at all. Good job.
Let's go with you. What do you think?
Yeah, that's just awesome. I follow Andre as well for a long time.
How badly did I butcher his name?
Yeah, he's from Germany, and it's actually pronounced Ledermüller.
There you
But
go.
it might be quite hard to say for Americans. So yeah,
We have a decent
yeah,
bit of
he's
German in our language.
he's right now he started polishing up his game and doing the textures since he got all mechanics inside. Um, yeah, and there he's obviously playing a little bit around with motion capture, which looks really awesome. This is you got a nice visual style.
I think I'll steer the conversation in a little different direction because again, everything about this from a visual standpoint is impressive, and the fact that he's working with mocap is obviously impressive. So I just be repeating what you guys said. Again, great work, particularly on the stomach of the alien. I said, maybe this was them messing around, and that maybe they had like a ballerina or something, and mocapped her and made this. I don't know if this is like supposed to represent the game or not. I'd like to talk about it from a marketing, I guess, perspective. Again, I'm not a professional in marketing or anything like that. This is just based off my own personal opinion. So on that, I do have to say that if this is the first tweet I've seen from Andre in a while, right? So when I saw it, I was like, oh hell yeah, I'm gonna showcase his, and he did something that was pretty clever, which was he put at the end there that little the AnShi game ninja alien is greeting you, right? Because if you look at this without that line, I have no idea what this is. Oh, guys doing mocap, great. I don't even know this is a game, right? I don't know if this is a game. I don't know if they're intending to sell it. I don't know what the objective here is. I don't know if it's story based or whatever. But when you look at the AnShi game Twitter that he's linking there, and you mouse over it, you immediately get in their description. It's a relaxing, emotional movie-length uh, sci-fi fantasy. I think there's a sci-fi fantasy. I think is a oxymoron, but sci-fi fantasy adventure set on an alien planet, and the link. So this is some really clever marketing. He was able to get a lot more text into his tweet without having to actually tweet it. Because again, he's putting in the link to the, I guess the game Twitter. They probably have a specific Twitter for the game, and I don't know that much about
Hmm.
Andre's game to be 100% honest, but they put that in there, and it has a fantastic description that tells you exactly what it is and links you for more info. So smart, really smart on his part. I think the only criticism I would give is to maybe like if you're going to show this mocap stuff, maybe imply like what you'll be using it for in the game. Because the big problem with Twitter is that a lot of us, and I'm the most guilty of this sin, a lot of us assume that the people who are looking at our tweets have seen all the other ones and are following us. But if somebody's new and this is the first tweet they see, you have to give them enough information so that they can, you know, uh, understand what you're doing just by looking at that tweet. Fantastic job linking the game Twitter in there. That gives me the more info that I need just with a simple hover. But I would add a little bit something in there like, hey, we're working on the mocap, uh, so you guys can use it as controls, or just something in there to let me know, you know, or we want our animations to be all mocap. We're working on our fully animated character using mocap or something a little bit more specific would be my very tiny nitpicky criticism. But I do applaud him on linking the game. That was supremely smart, linking that Twitter and getting that extra info. And whoever set that game Twitter up knew what he was doing with the description. So, what do you
Yeah,
guys
and you
think?
can
What do you guys
see
think
in
of
the
that?
like comment area, like where people have asked, like, "Oh, did you mocap this?" He said that this specific one is he's saying, "No, this is a Zen master from somewhere." So what I think this tweet is actually kind of going in, especially when I actually read it again and then read that comment, I just do some planning for the next mocap session. So I think this is him setting up and getting Blender and Unreal Engine ready for him to go in and do some more mocapping. So apparently he's probably going to have a mocap session soon to do actual animations that are going to be in the game. At least that's the context I'm getting now that I've read his like reply down below.
Yeah, I was trying to leave the reply
Hmm.
out since a lot of people don't necessarily go into the thread. But yeah, what that would tell me is to remove the "I just do some planning" section and just put like, here's here's like the setup for the mocap session, and then it's like, oh, because immediately like all the observations that Eric made, like, oh, it's a little bumpy and whatnot, like now that makes sense on top of it. It's like, oh, they're setting up, and this is just what setting up looks like. Imagine when it's like super polished. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, overall, Andre, extremely talented. Good job, dude. He is the CEO of Hadeland Games, and I probably butchered that pronunciation. And he's developing this game, which is AnShi Game, or AnShi, I guess would be the more appropriate name. So follow our boy, like it, retweet him, uh, comment in that thread, and let him know that we sent you. So, anybody got anything? Any closing words?
No.
No.
All right. So let's go into the next tweet.
Empis.
This one I brought. Well, this one's a little bit more for me, to be 100% honest. The next one is more for Eric, but this one's a little bit for me. So I know that you're not the biggest fan of. This is a GIF, so we can just talk over it. I'm not the biggest fan of pixel art. I personally love this. I'm the target audience for this kind of stuff. It's probably obvious based on the games that I'm making and the stuff I like to talk about, but this is, I love it. I love pixel art. I love this almost Advance Wars in a fantasy world feeling. Um, I just really, really like it. I, I don't really know what this little square here. Well, let me read the tweet. Sorry, I didn't do that. So Empis at Empis Game says, late on Screenshot Saturday. That seems to be a trend today. We have a human city nestled deep in the mountains and protected by stalwart warriors on all sides. So 4X, Mountains, Indie Watch, Indie Dev, Indie Games, blah, blah, blah. I really like it. I think it looks fantastic personally. It does immediately evoke the feeling of 4X when you look at it based on the proportions, based on the camera angle. I really, really like this. You got your little archer in the background. My only criticism is the rectangle. What exactly does that mean? 0 people and then like double arrow growing, I'd assume would be the thing. So it maybe has 0 population now and it's growing. But other than that, this just looks wonderful. And I really like the look, and I'm just obviously gushing at it. So I'll pass the ball over to you guys. What do you guys think?
Yeah, it looks really nice. I like especially like the little animation bobbing because it's not like super smooth. It's done at like God, maybe that might be on ones at like 12 frames a second. I don't know. I'm like I've literally been sitting here trying to count how many frames, but it's really nice. I really like it because sometimes we get a little sometimes depending on how you're looking at a game and depending on the feel of the game, smooth animations don't always work. And I think for like the rest of the visuals here, I think just having that little bit of kind of, limited frame rate just works really nicely because you can see even the windmill has the same
I was
thing.
going to mention the windmill. I think the only place it would kind of fail would be the windmill in particular.
Yeah. I love it. The graphical design is really great. I love the mountains look really, really pretty. Yeah, this is just I love pixel art so much. It is definitely one of my favorite like video game stylings. Anything cartoony, I'm always down for. And you guys, I'm sure you can guess by my reactions to certain things.
And let's go to the opposite of the spectrum, the person who is not that much of a fan of pixel art. What are your thoughts, buddy?
I'm not really opposite. It's not that I have a problem with it. It's just I prefer the 3D games and modeled for myself to play and to look at. But as Eric said, the little like kind of janky animation, it really fits well with this style. It's really unique. The characters again pop really out because of the black outlines. Here they are black, but they pop out. And I think I've got an idea what this square could mean because I see it as an arrow. Maybe there are 0 persons inside, and you could send these 3 into with an arrow to the castle to protect it. This is my suggestion. Maybe they have been inside before and you can pull them out and store them into
Yeah,
the
garrison
castle.
it seems to be, yeah.
Because for me, it looks a little bit more like an arrow to, you know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I'm trying to look at it from a 4X lens a little bit. But yeah, maybe I don't know. I really don't know, personally. I
Me
guess
either.
I wonder if they're going a Might and Magic style approach, where you use like, movement instead of just hexes or whatever. Because there's no hexes here, no grid. I don't know if it's toggle on or off. Um, but that would be an interesting question
Hmm.
to have answered. I mean, not that
Yes.
much to say. I just wanted to point it out because I think it looks fantastic, and I'm the target audience, so I'm gonna be selfish. Um, and I'm getting a call from Eno's assistant saying that Eno does not approve. So, uh, in the so Empis, in development, multiplayer micro 4X games made by Kyle Meadows and Colin Majorly. And they have their Steam page link. So I just wanted to showcase this, and they're actually followed by you, Eric. Did you follow them prior to this, or?
I just followed.
Oh, okay. So great job, boys. As usual, link in the description. Go show them the love. Tell them we sent you, and wishlist their game. I really like games like these, and I hope that more of them come out in the future. So, last today. I know it's sad that we're done, but this one I got for you, Eric. I looked at
I
it and
can
I
see
thought
why.
you would love it. So, Eli from Wanderlust says, "Hi, Screenshot Saturday. You can officially track and hunt big game in Wanderlust. Just be sure you have a way to preserve all that meat before it spoils. Charming dear friend by Pixel Frog." Just want to highlight him just so people can see him a little bit. Pixel Frog. Hi, I'm Pixel Frog. I make asset packs for developers. Check out my store. And as one of those developers who cannot draw for shits, I applaud you and thank you for existing, kind sir. Um, so let's just play that video. This one also
Yeah, I've been
doesn't
watching
have
it loop
any
so many
sound.
times.
Now, as I said, I'd assume you'd love the art style, but I also got it for my missus, who's really big on these survival style games. So this is something that she would be the target audience for. I'd be to a
So
lesser
would I
degree.
actually. Like I am definitely the target audience for this because I love these kind of survival games like this,
There
like
you go.
Don't Starve and all that stuff.
Yeah, my
It's just
missus
so
played
fun.
Don't Starve without actually advancing in the story, just surviving. She liked that quite a
I
bit.
didn't even like I never knew there was a fucking story until like weeks later. Someone was like, "Oh, so have you beaten the story?" I'm like, "There's a story?" I was just sitting around surviving.
Now, keep in mind that we both had it and played it like prior to like their starving together expansions and stuff like that. Uh,
Yeah, same. Like
so,
that made me so happy when they released Don't Starve Together. I was like, "Yes."
yep,
But yeah, no, this looks amazing.
yeah,
Art looks fucking great. I love that you can track with actual footprints. That is something that I wish more survival games would
yep.
do. Let you actually actively track and hunt in a way that mimics a little bit of like real life. Because in real life, that's how you track. You look for signs of their movement. You look up signs, a branch broken, the hoof prints, maybe they've like left some of their, fecal matter somewhere. Something to help you track where they're going, and then you can use your knowledge of the area to go, okay, where might they be going? And so this is great. I love it. Also, I love two things. One, I love the death animation of the deer. That's adorable. Which I know is weird to say about death, but fuck you, it's cute. And then two, I love the just meat explosion when you're done harvesting. It's just so fun. I love it. Oh, and I just noticed that the deer actually has a little
Yep.
like alert bubble that pops up when they're like alerted of your presence. Like they're like something's here. Yeah, no, you picked the perfect one. This is 100% my jam.
What are your thoughts, buddy?
Yeah, again, I just have to agree with Eric. It's really looking nice, and the small touches with the footprints of the deer, I didn't realize first before you said it, but all these little details, the meat explosion, as you said, really is interesting and nice. I didn't see that coming. First time I've seen this video, that once you interact with the deer, it just pops up and there's meat over meat. I like what he's saying in the post, that you have got to preserve the meat, so it obviously spoils after a time. I like this as well, because this is how it is. If you just let it outside, it's gonna be spoiled within days. I don't know how he's dealing with this, but yeah, this looks nice and it's thought through. This is really, I would like to see more. He gets a like from me.
Definitely. But one thing I noticed, I don't know if you guys noticed, but like if you see him Ronin up first, like before he had a weapon out, he has full character animation with his arms. The moment he takes out a weapon, he actually made it so those disappear for the floating arms that are now controlled by your mouse.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Like he has like when he's walking the little shaking thing and then those disappear and he toggles those little hands that are actually part of the bow, not really of the character. Yeah, that's really
Yeah, I like
that's
that.
smart sprite development.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yes, it
I
is.
don't want to gush too much of with this because again, you guys pretty much mentioned everything. I think the footprints are brilliant. I wonder how he did it.
No, keep gushing.
I wonder
Mm-hmm.
if each like tile has like an alternative version with like footprints. Like I'm assuming all footprints look relatively similar, maybe with some exception like Bigfoot or whatever. And maybe he has like a bunch of like in those tiles like a layer on top of it with
Mm-hmm.
like footprints that rotate in whatever direction. Um, I'm interested in knowing how he does that. I think that
Probably
because
a particle.
yeah, no, well, I don't know if it's a particle, straight up. Maybe it's a layer.
Or not particle. There's a term for that, and I'm blanking on the name because I've tried doing stuff like that before, and I never got very far with it because I suck at coding.
Maybe shape?
But
No,
I
it's not. It's not. Maybe a material? No, I don't know. No, it's not a
well,
material.
actually,
It's probably a
material
layer. It's
maybe.
probably no, because this is all sprite
Yeah.
work. I doubt that he's messing around with too many
Oh yeah,
materials.
no, it's definitely its own layer. I would definitely say that
Yeah,
it is definitely its own layer because you can see how it doesn't perfectly line up with any tile on a grid.
yeah,
So it's definitely its own thing that isn't bound by the grid system.
yeah. And I guess the only criticism I'd give him, another thing that there was two little things that you didn't mention. The first one is how it takes him time to wind up the arrow at the beginning. Like he takes it out, and you can notice that he moves back and pulls. Also, that subtle moving back, that distance and being hidden is important. That's a nice little effect for the video. I doubt that it's important in the game, like hiding behind the tree like he did. From a camera perspective, notice that he moved a little back and he's hidden behind the tree. I doubt that that's actually important for the game. Maybe it is. I don't know, but it's definitely a good effect for the footage. The only criticism I'd have, I guess, would be the UI a little bit. Like the arrow amounts that he has left is relatively fine, but not that visible. So maybe that could
Yeah.
be better. And the E in particular, that would be the thing that would give my missus a heart attack looking at. Like maybe the E, make it a big cartoon E, like because you have this beautiful landscape, these wonderful characters, don't don't make me dislike the lettering, and that's a little harsh. That's probably not the best way to term it, but it's just that when you see like the question mark that the deer has when he notices you, that's kind of the same thing I'm expecting from the E to use, particularly since that's something I'm going to see a lot more commonly. So maybe something a little bit more animated. I mean, your everything about your environment is so wonderful and your character's so great. You know, the E just looks out of place with such a fantastic environment. But let's keep in mind that this is still under development, so that's important to highlight. Our criticism is only to add and never to take away from fantastic work. So this is Eli
Yeah.
from Wanderlust. He's the creator of Wanderlust, which is a survival crafting RPG with wholesome zombie killing, inspired by the likes of Stardew Valley and The Walking Dead. So you can expect to follow from my missus practically immediately when she sees this.
Yep.
And overall, I think this was a fantastic work, Eli. So, that would be my main criticism, the E. And God, that blood spatter from the deer felt so out of place until I read this is a zombie killing game. So I was like, oh, so that's the context of this. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, the that was a great, great spy on the overall from a marketing perspective. This is really smart. Again, marketing perspective that I'm not an expert in, so do not take my word for anything. It's just in my opinion, this is really well done. Uh, mostly because there's more in the tweet than in the video. So it pays to read the tweet. And caught that real quick. I read the tweet out loud, and it didn't register until said it. So real smart. I mean, this guy knows what he's doing. And Pixel Frog, wonderful little deer that dies a gruesome death. Great job, Pixel. So that, I believe,
put a black border around that E.
Yeah, and notice that I think the deer, when he's dead, he has the white little silhouette that we were talking about earlier. Let me see.
Yeah, to highlight that it's what
There it
you're
is. Yeah,
going to hit
the
E
thing we
on.
were talking about. So
Oh, it
again,
happens to the rock too.
oh yeah,
So
the
all
rock
the
can also be
tree
picked
and
up.
everything.
Yeah. I just saw that. So once
But
again,
yeah,
it
put a
just
black border around that E, and I think that would improve it so much.
maybe like put it in a square with like a yellow background or something, like something to
Ooh.
just make it pop a little bit.
That would look nice.
Yeah, but
Yeah, that would look nice.
But again, just that white border when you go up to the deer, that kind of highlights it. That just showcases how little I know about art, because I was talking about that 3 tweets ago when we were looking at the purple cat from the Game Maker game. Same
Yeah.
effect. So again,
Just a
don't
highlight.
listen to me
just a
when it comes to
contour
art,
highlight.
boys and girls. I don't know what I'm talking about. Obviously,
Contour highlights matter.
Yeah. So okay, so I think that's the last one for today, if I'm not mistaken. All of these are already in the description. I'm going to be adding like the names and stuff just to make sure that everybody gets their, a little bit more credit. But yeah, tweet at them, let them know we sent you. All these look great. Go and follow them. I'm going to follow them after I tweet at them that we looked at their stuff. But yeah, that's pretty much all the ones we looked at today. So I guess what would be, let's try to round out the day a little bit with some conclusions. What did we learn today, boys and girls? I mean, I learned a lot about highlights. Learned a lot about having little white borders in order to distinguish stuff, particularly in selection looks really good. So what conclusions did you guys gain today, or if you learned anything?
I learned that pixel that can be
It's
more
like we're in
beautiful than
4th
I
grade.
think.
What did you learn, boys?
What did you learn, boys?
Yeah, this episode was in no way meant to attack Eno, who is not a big fan of pixel art, just to criticize him. That's the only point of this stream. It's not to attack him, just to criticize him. Eno, you're just wrong. We just wanted to let you
Yes.
know. This was all planned. So Eric, today's art seemed to be right up your alley.
Definitely.
Kind of your thing. Maybe this will motivate you to bring something next Screenshot Saturday.
Yes.
Wink, wink.
Yeah, sure.
It'll motivate me. It doesn't mean it's actually going to be here, but it'll.
Yeah.
But
hey,
anyway,
as soon as these meds run out, man.
But anyway, yeah, that's. I liked what we were looking at today. Thank you, boys, once again for being here. Let's carry this out. So, Eno, once again, tell the audience who you are, where we can find you.
Yeah, I'm Enogames, and I'm developing a cooking management game with RPG mechanics. And there's a link to my Discord server where you can get in contact to maybe play the alpha if you are interested.
Awesome. Eric, tell us a little bit about yourself, particularly for those who are looking for artists.
Yep, I'm Eric. You can find me on YouTube at just Eric Faries, Fariес. Twitter, Eric Ronin. Even on Twitch, it should be Eric Ronin. Yeah, I do art stuff. I do YouTube stuff. I'll teach you some art stuff. I also every now and then will review games that I've been given keys for. I try to do it from an artist perspective. So if you want your art critiqued, then send it my way, and I'll get looking at it. And you might show up in a video. And yeah, if you want to hire me, yeah, you can find my links pretty much throughout all of my different socials, and you can contact me in any manner of those, and I will give you my quote. But yeah, I have no real current projects because my brain refuses to give me dopamine. And just keep an eye out on my Twitter, and I will share anything I do.
There you go. And once again, both of their links are in the description. Crawly couldn't be with us today, but he's usually a part of this too. Shout out to Crawly. Check him out in the description. Go and
Mr.
wishlist.
Crawly.
Go and wishlist Draft of Darkness. It's currently on Steam, again, available for wishlist, and it's going to be coming out real soon. And a little birdie tells me that you guys might be getting a preview sooner rather than later, like a real badass preview. And if you want more than just what a little birdie tells me, go visit Crawly's Discord. Download the game that is actually available right now for playing, the pre-alpha version, and get a feel for it. It's a fantastic game. It's got deck building elements, it's got roguelike elements, it's got horror elements. It's real good. And it was developed entirely by Mr. Crawly. So shout out to you, Crawly, who couldn't be here today. Or shout out to his assistant who's going to be watching this. No, it's not actually going to be Crawly, it's going to be his assistant. And if you're able to get to this portion, post shout out to Crawly's assistants in the comment down below. So I'm Dreaming Dice. I'm currently developing a grand strategy game with both 4X and tactical elements. And you can find my stuff in the description below. And once again, boys and girls, cats and kittens, thank you very much for joining us. You guys have a great week, and we'll see you next Sunday, 6 p.m. GMT +2. Join the Discord, drop your stuff. We'll review it for you if you don't want to be a part of the actual roundtable. And if you do want to be a part of the roundtable, just hit us up in the Discord. Say goodnight, boys.
Bye.
Bye.